I have wanted to make a video about just how amazing Diablo 2 is on handhelds, specifically the Steam Deck, for more than a year now.
Look, you're a hunter, right?
Right,
And this is rabbit season, right?
right.
And if he was a rabbit, what would he do?
Well,
Diablo 2. I absolutely love this game. I've been playing it for over 20 years, on different computers, going through different phases of life, but this game has always found its way back onto my screen. This is actually my first copy of Diablo 2. I bought this over 21 years ago. And back then, Diablo 2 was something you played sitting at a computer for hours on end. But the funny thing is, the way I play Diablo 2 today is completely different. Because these days, I barely play it on the PC at all. Instead, I play it almost entirely on my Steam Deck. And in this video, I want to go over why playing it on something like the Steam Deck might actually be the best way to experience it today. Because somehow, after all these years, Diablo 2 just keeps getting better. Alright, it's no secret that I'm a big fan of D2R on the Steam Deck. You see, for more than 20 years, Diablo 2 was a game that I only ever played sitting on a PC. But recently, life changed a little. I became a dad. And suddenly, the way I played games had to change with it too. Sitting down at a PC for long sessions, it just wasn't an option anymore. So, for the last year, I've played Diablo 2 exclusively on the Steam Deck. From completing the game on hardcore hell to running terror zones or farming runes, I did all of it, and I was able to do everything on the Steam Deck. So if you look at the stats for the Steam Deck, it has a 7.4-inch OLED, which is HDR enabled, it's 800p, and I have the 1TB model, which also gets an etched glass, which is helpful with reflections. And the 1TB model also comes with a 45-watt charging cable, which is 5 feet long. And I can't tell you how helpful that is when you have to charge and play. Now, it also has some other cool features like a dedicated SD card slot and also a headphone jack, but there is something I have to speak about that just steals the show for me. The HDR. I know this is going to sound so not 2026, but the HDR on the Steam Deck is beautiful. And this is coming from somebody who's mainly played on a 4K OLED. The Steam Deck's screen is just beautiful, and the HDR complements Diablo 2 so well. This isn't the first time I've actually played on a handheld, but it's been so long that the minute I actually held the Steam Deck, it immediately took me back to my PSP days. But for as amazing an experience as the screen has provided for me, there's only been one real downside of an 800p screen. And that really comes down to the size of the text. And that's something I want to go into in the next section of my video. Until recently, the only way you could play Diablo 2 on the Steam Deck was by getting BattleNet on desktop mode and running it through a plugin called Proton Experimental. Now, this was basically free because if you already owned the game on BattleNet, you didn't have to purchase it to play. However, with the release of The Reign of the Warlock, Steam sold Diablo 2 now, and this sort of raised a dilemma. Should you get Diablo 2 from BattleNet, or should you get Diablo 2 from Steam? Especially if you're somebody who intends to play it on the Steam Deck like I do. So jumping into the Steam Deck, once you install BattleNet on desktop mode, you can add it to your Steam library and it'll show up on your home screen, something like this. So let's go into this. By the way, all the footage that you see here was recorded directly on my Steam Deck. Now, if you'd like me to make a video on how to get Diablo 2 to work on desktop mode, let me know in the comments below. So once BattleNet opens up, you can see Diablo II Resurrected under My Games. And I want you to pay attention to something that Blizzard has done for Diablo II Resurrected. And this was sometime in 2025 around October. The game actually has been optimized for handhelds. So you can take a look at what exactly handheld optimization does. By the way, I've been running Diablo 2 off my SD card from the Steam Deck and it runs amazingly well. The footage you see here is Diablo II running on desktop mode directly from my SD card. Now, in terms of the difference between Steam and Blizzard, the game runs almost exactly identical on both. The visuals are great, the game also plays great, but as I mentioned earlier, the text size becomes a bit of an issue, which becomes very clear right from the character selection screen when you put them side by side. So on the left, we have the desktop mode BattleNet version, and on the right, we have the Steam version. And if you take a look at the text, both the versions have a large font mode, which you'll find in the settings. But if you notice on the Steam version, the text is actually much larger, and I think the large font mode just works much better on the Steam version compared to Blizzard. And this is actually especially important if you're playing for long hours. The eye strain is significantly reduced. So then, if you're looking to decide between one or the other, just know that both Blizzard and Steam have done a pretty amazing job at optimizing Diablo 2 for handhelds. Personally, I would recommend the Steam version just because of how much more readable it is, but if you already own the Blizzard version, you're not really missing out on too much. Over the course of the year, in my usage of the Steam Deck, I've averaged about 2 hours and 42 minutes of battery time. I've not put any FPS limits, and I usually play the game at about 60% brightness. And amazingly, I get about 60 to 90 FPS playing Diablo on medium settings, and of course, I always keep the HDR enabled.
If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and please consider leaving a like and a subscribe because I have a lot of content planned. I'm just starting out, and the support would mean the world to me.